Dr. Kellen, here in the U.S., Dr. Anthony Fauci over the weekend saying, hey, we don't want to use this strategy of sort of giving half doses, right? Giving smaller amounts of the vaccine to allow more people to get vaccinated. What is the thinking there, and what is his thinking?
Yeah, so this is actually quite a problem to suddenly try and switch strategies, and possibly for the wrong reason. So we have secured 200 million doses in the US for both Pfizer and Moderna over this year. Fair amount of it is available now. The issue today isn't that there isn't enough vaccine. The issue today is that we haven't operationalized how to get the vaccine that is available into people's actual arms. If we suddenly change courses now, after a very careful way of approaching vaccines and the trials, all of a sudden, who's going to trust this process?
Yeah.
So I don't think that at this time this makes an awful lot of sense, even if there's a little bit of science, but inconclusive science behind the thought of giving half doses or delaying the second dose by 12 weeks.
Well, Dr. Kellen, it raises the question, what has been the issue with rollout here in the United States? Why is this going so slowly?
Well, we concentrated on trying to get a lot of vaccine, and there hasn't been a lot of guidance beyond that as to how the rollout should actually occur in any given state. And then each state is kind of on its own. And as we know, for many, many years now, more than just one administration, health departments at the state level and at the local county and city levels are under-resourced and understaffed. And without further guidance, many of them have not had the ability to put immediate effective programs. Also recall that this was around the Christmas and New Year's period. People are on vacation. Hiring up is a very difficult thing to do. And the first amount of vaccine that came out meant for healthcare workers was actually a trickle. And in a situation like ours, we expected a few thousand doses any given week. So we geared up to be able to give a few thousand doses any given week. And then all of a sudden in week 2 or 2.5, we got 3-4 times that amount. And we weren't geared up to give it because we weren't expecting that much.
Emma, I want to go back to you and talk a little bit about the rollout in the UK versus other parts. Well, I guess I don't know if I can still say other parts of Europe at this point because of Brexit. But in terms of mainland Europe.
Geographically, we still belong.
Yeah,
certainly.
Geographically, you haven't moved at all, we should say. I'm curious about France and Germany specifically. Is the slow rollout in those countries, is that just a function of when the vaccines were approved, or are there other obstacles standing in the way that will keep those countries behind the UK in terms of population that's been inoculated?
Well, it's certainly true that the UK was ahead of the rest of Europe in terms of when they approved vaccines for the Pfizer-BioNTech one and, of course, approving the Oxford-AstraZeneca one, which Europe has not approved. Europe expected to approve the Moderna vaccine later this week. So the UK did get a head start in terms of getting shots into people's arms, to put it very bluntly. But it wasn't much of a head start, and certainly not enough to make up for the vast difference that we are actually seeing now. The UK with about 1 million vaccinations. In France, that's really just in the hundreds in terms of vaccinations, around 500 at the moment. And then in Germany, about 240,000 or so vaccinations. So it can't all be attributed to the fact that they approved later. There are some political disputes about it, certainly within Germany versus on the federal and state level. In France, there is some concern about anti-vaccine sentiment, and there are a lot of people who are perhaps more wary of the vaccine. We understand that Emmanuel Macron, the leader of France, he is incensed about it. We've heard he's used some more colourful language than that, and is working today to try and improve and speed up the rollout of vaccine, because now all leaders in Europe, the UK, and really throughout most of the world now seeing the vaccine as the only way to halt transmissions and get to some light at the end of the tunnel with this.
Well, speaking of light at the end of the tunnel, we should start to see the vaccine distribution pace actually pick up. Here's what Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, said over the weekend. Take a listen.
We are not where we want to be, no doubt about that. But I think we can get there if we really accelerate, get some momentum going, and see what happens as we get into the first couple of weeks of January.
Dr. Kellen, what do you make of what Dr. Fauci said there, that just in a couple of weeks we'll start to see the pace pick up significantly?
I think we've already seen the pace pick up, and we're going to see it pick up even more now that the sense of urgency has really come to light. And as all of us in all the states learn to become more efficient and get the vaccine into people's arms, it's absolutely inevitable. Whether we're able to do 100 million people in 100 days, I don't know, but I'm actually quite optimistic and agree with Dr. Fauci. I think we just all need to take a big breath, and we cannot liken what's going to happen based on the first week or 10 days of this rollout. That's just unfair.
Okay, that's a nice little bit of optimism to end on. Emergency physician at Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Gabe Callan, live from Baltimore, and Bloomberg's Emma Chandra, live from our London bureau. Thank you to both of you for your time. We should note that the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is supported by Michael R. Bloomberg, founder of Bloomberg LP and Bloomberg Philanthropies.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.